Welcome to Reflections, a program where we discuss values and virtues for the transformation of the individual and the society in general. I am Father George Ehusani, and I have my friend again in the studio, Abdulkareem Mohammed, of the Moving Image Limited, the popular Kano-based movie industry, and his festival. What is the festival?
Kano Indigenous Languages of Africa Film Market and Festival.
Kano Indigenous Languages of Africa Film Market and Festival. Wonderful.
But the acronym is KILAF.
KILAF, yeah. That is short. Yes, Kano Indigenous African Languages Market and Film Festival.
Yeah.
Great. So, you're welcome once again.
Thank
the
you
last
very
time we met, we were discussing entertainment industry, film industry, and values for nation building. And I would like us to continue that discussion, but this time zeroing on into what can the various media industries, beginning from the well-established ones like Moving Image, to the small person who is using his phone to do movie skits. How will you challenge everyone, from big media industries to small persons that are doing skits, all content producers, whether big content producers, small content producers, big ones like your festival that you are bringing more than 600 entries, to the person who is just using his phone to produce something. What approach will you take to ensure that some values for nation building are being passed to society?
In the first instance, once you are a content producer, it doesn't matter what platform you are talking about. You are talking about originality. Originality. Everything emanates from there. If I am producing a content as a Hausa person, you are from Ibra,
yes,
and you are producing content from Ibra, it must reflect
my people and the values.
Period. Because anything short of your originality, you're compromising. You are subjugating your mentality, you are subjugating your own narrative to somebody to do it for you. And there is nobody that can sing your own song better than you. It doesn't make sense. The sensible thing is, first, appreciate who you are in the first instance. And then secondly, make sure that whatever content originates from you is a representation of you and your people. This is the first
originality.
Challenge. Yes. This is the first
authenticity
challenge.
And originality.
Yes. And what will happen is that once you are original, it doesn't matter what form of originality we are talking about, but representation of yourself. The content you produce will be a reflection of who you are representing. So this is why the idea of promoting these indigenous language films is to emphasize on this aspect, so that we don't have to be consumers. We have to be producers. And you cannot produce media content reflecting other people's culture, not your own. Other people's story, not your own, and say you are being fair to yourself. You are neither going to be fair to yourself nor to who you represent as a people.
I mean, when the Europeans wrote our history, they wrote it from their perspective.
Exactly.
So if you are consuming all their content, you are continuing that colonialism.
Period.
If you don't tell your own story, nobody will tell your story for you.
Yeah.
So it's like you don't exist.
And that is why once you are making a content, research becomes critical. Even if you don't know, like I'm a film producer without borders. Give me any subject on earth to make a film about, to generate a content about. I will research and ensure that that content represents the purpose of the content that you are making me to produce. So this is the challenge that we as content producers must bear in mind. Because so long as you don't produce to the contentment of your audience, to the representational value of your audience, you are failing.
Now, this thing we are talking about, originality, about authenticity in content creation, how are we going to achieve that when people are in a hurry to make money? I mean, somebody takes his phone and then he produces something and gets it out today, and so on. And I know how long good films take.
You see, man is a product of his own mind. Therefore, we should be concerned as a people to ensure that we tabulate in the minds of this our young generation who they are and what they represent.
And where they are coming from.
Exactly. And even where they are going. Therefore, it is out of this sensitization, this advocacy, this capacity building, that government should take interest in all these TikTokers, these YouTubers. They should take interest, bring them, tabulate these values in them, because that is the responsibility of any responsive government to do. We cannot detach ourselves from them and what they are doing and expect them to do what we expect them to do for us.
Yes.
Therefore, the first challenge is to create that cohesion, that symbiotic relationship between those that are leading us and those that are representing us on the platforms.
Right now, Nigeria has not such an enviable reputation in many countries.
Yeah.
To the extent that even our neighbors, Ghana, are attempting to chase Nigerians away. South Africa, it has been happening over and over. Where with Trump's coming, see what is happening with the United States. Every country is trying to tighten their borders to prevent Nigerians and so. Because perhaps the good stories about the best values of this country have actually not gone out well. Because there are so many wonderful people in this country. There are so many Nigerians that have done excellent work in different parts of the world. But we have things about Yahoo, some negative reputation of Nigerians going out. So, what can we do? You have mentioned government, but what can government agencies and agencies like your own do?
What will happen is there has to be a collaboration, because this enormity of work that you have given to be done and must be done in the best of our own interest cannot be done in isolation.
No.
It's a collaborative thing. Therefore, if I were to advise, I would have advised that we get a think tank that will be brought together. Let us now consider what are these essential values that we want to represent us. I remember I served in a committee that was coalescing the responsibilities of National Broadcasting Commission, the responsibilities of Nigerian Film Corporation, the responsibility of National Film and Video Censors Board, and the responsibility of Nigerian Copyright Commission. These are agencies of government that relates to what we are talking about. Mm-hmm. And the government of that time said, look, there has to be this coordination. I don't know what has happened to that initiative, but it didn't take off. There has to be that coordination because these are agencies that are responsible for either producing or monitoring the performance of people like me that are in the private sector and even the industry. So there has to be that convergent point where practitioners are deliberately brought together to now collaborate with these agencies that are have the oversight functions of these media outlets to now chart a new course for this country. Because it is only through a coordinated approach that this thing can be brought to the fore, and whoever the stakeholder is will be dovetailed into getting into that. And I see that missing up to now.
Now, is there any way that agencies like your own can help when it comes to recovering some old skits and films and attempts that were made during the analog era, because I am imagining that some of those things may be laden with values, traditional values that we are losing.
Sure.
Get the music of Dambaraya, Jos, and such efforts that were made in those days. If there are VHS videos or something where they were recorded that are rusting away somewhere, to see how we can digitize those things and find a way of bringing them out, because I see some of the content of our young people devoid of the kind of values I'm talking about.
You see, the Nigerian Film Corporation is the agency of government that is the developmental agency of film. And they have gone into partnership with the Goethe Institute of Germany to do archiving, because that's what
I'm talking about. Yes.
Right. And they have successfully done one film that I'm aware of, and that is Shehu Umar, the film that is based on a book written by our Prime Minister Tafawa Balewa.
Okay.
And the film was done by Adamu Khalilu on behalf of the Nigerian government. And I think it was the entry of Nigeria during First Act 77.
I see.
So they said, well, let us digitize this content. And in the process, they struck a bilateral relationship between them and the Goethe Institute to now say, let's just get some Nigerians that will do study on archiving. And they have successfully done that, even to master's level now.
Okay.
So maybe we are not yet where we can get what you are talking about.
But we are training people.
Yes, people are being trained on that aspect that I'm aware of.
I mean, when I think of the kind of movies, attempts made by Ola Rotimi, some of the
even Wole Soyinka with
Soyinka
Congress
himself,
Harvest.
yes, and all those Chino Achebe's Things Fall Apart, all those. When I think of those heavily laden with values, how are we going to ensure that they are digitized and that today's young people, it is put in the form that they will enjoy?
They will serve as a reference point.
Yes.
Now, this there is National Film Archive institution that has been already created, and this is their mandate.
Okay.
So they are doing that in conjunction with
Goethe Institute.
So I want to believe that if they succeed, we will get to where you're talking about. But I think what is important is mobilization of this content, because there are many from several quarters outside.
Yes, meaning that there has to be a place, an organization, an office that goes around campaigning. If you have these old things, bring them.
Yeah. So there has that I am not aware of. Because of my vintage position, I cannot say personally I'm not, because that is how I come to know this. But I think it has to go beyond individuals.
Yes.
It has to go beyond to the level where you are searching for these contents, wherever they may be, because we have a lot of them. Yes. Many people are going to produce film. Once it is classic film, you go to British Film Institute and they have archival materials of Nigeria. When they tell you how much you are going to pay, that is when you will know.
When you think of the fact that, when was it, 1960 what, that WMBS started?
Yes, 59.
59.
Yes.
So, and I'm sure they were attempting to show some local movies then. Where are those?
Exactly.
You understand?
Exactly.
They were in reel to reel in those days.
Yes. Yes.
Where are they? And then can those things be modernized?
They can.
So with all the technology that is available today, they can be modernized and digitized.
Yes.
Good. We will be requiring such, and then you need to talk to the people in these agencies that have been set up by government, so that it is not just sitting down there in the office. Let them get to the fields and retrieve this, because we need them. Our young people are roaming about the streets like sheep without shepherd. If they will not read, they would at least watch movies. But what kind of movies
do they watch? That's the concern. And the earlier we understand that this information superhighway cannot wait for people to say no. So you need to, as we are clogging in to now say we are digitizing or we are moving from analog to digital migration, we must be conscious of the fact that we need the content to support our participation into the information superhighway. And we cannot do it without having our own content.
Yeah. I mean, very correct. What would you advise, or what approach will you take to the small individuals that there are now thousands of individuals that are producing things every day, producing content, music, comedy, film, but producing content every day. They are YouTubers, they are TikTokers, they are Instagrammers. Young people are being entertained through their phones and laptops every day with contents that they receive, a lot of which may not edify much, a lot of which are not the kind of content people of your age and my age will want young people. What will you do now? What can we do to educate them on sustainable values for nation building so that it is part of, they are so educated, they come and see the need for those values and then they ensure that the values are in their content? I really have a hard time knowing what we can do.
What we can do in the first instance is to have an inventory of the
kind of
class.
values.
Yes, we have to. No, not the values
of the class of people.
Yes. Are we targeting the YouTubers? Do we have an inventory of who they are? Do we have a registration platform that we can get to them? If there is none, and I don't believe there is, there has to be that database. So based on those classes of stakeholders that you have mentioned, we can invite them individually and meet with them. And then this advocacy and capacity building process has to happen, because everything that we are talking about, unless you sensitize me enough to appreciate my place in your thought process, in your nation building agenda, yes, how can I be, how would you expect me to key in? So there has to be that link point in the first instance. So identification, registration, database, use it.
Networking.
Exactly. Use it and develop capacity building to cascade whatever the National Orientation Agency, the Value and Ethics Commission or whatever it is, they can cascade all these things.
Now that's the small.
That's the first level.
That's the first level. And
yes.
Now, with regards to the ones we know, I'm talking of the established media houses. In a situation of poor finances, dwindling resources, how much are they able to actually devote time, airtime for? You know, with regards to the media houses that air my own program, for example, I'm grateful to God that they made provision for programs like this that are on values and virtues to air them. Thanks to them. But many media houses are not able to devote time for programs that are meant for social engineering, behavior, attitudinal change, behavior change, to promote values in society. Under that circumstances, and the government is not available to help, and they must pay their bills, so they make their hours only available for people who can pay.
And that is very sensible and realistic, this standpoint that you are talking about. I consult for a radio and television station. Last month, they expanded 6 million in that single month of last month. But they only realized 46,000 naira.
46,000 naira?
46,000 naira.
Oh, that's a real problem.
So when you have somebody that has put in money to
establish this outfit,
to recruit people, and he's contending with this thing, is this sustainable? No, it's not.
No.
Therefore, the first thing is, Once the government has put her thoughts together and say we are packaging this thing to sensitize people and we need the media this thing, there should be a budget.
Then we must support the media.
Exactly. There should be a budget. Because if NTA comes out to do this thing and offer free this thing, of course it's public
TV.
Yeah. So if FRCN comes to do that,
It's public TV.
If News Agency of Nigeria comes to do this, it's public. But for a private entrepreneur, it won't work that way. You cannot touch my sensibility button to do public sacrifice when I cannot even sustain.
And you cannot pay your staff.
Exactly. So that's the reality of the situation. So I will urge that if the government accepts that media is a partner in this process,
In national development.
exactly, then there has to be a budget to support them to do this thing. That's the most realistic way of looking at it.
And such budget should be not with conditionalities. That such budget should be released without putting pressure on the media house to support everything government is doing. You understand?
Yeah.
Because that's likely to happen. You know how public media is used in this country.
Yes.
It's a state radio, cannot say anything against government.
Exactly.
It's a federal radio, cannot say anything against government.
Yes.
If there is a budget, it should be that we know that this media house is doing public good. So they are subsidized to do public good.
Yeah.
Whether the owner is of the same party as the governor or not.
True. That's a realistic way of looking at it, and that is the most practical way to go about it. Because yes, without being dispassionate, once you bring in subjectivity to govern the initiative that we are talking about, it won't work.
It will not work.
So we have to be objective to ourselves and be macro in the way we think, not micro. Because it's only when I'm self-serving that I will reduce myself to looking at situations to serve me.
But if you are for public good,
then you should be able to see the sense and logic of what we are talking about. And that is when it becomes practicable, because then the political class will have political commitment to the initiative.
by the way, as we are discussing all this, media for nation building values, are the leaders, I'm talking of the professional politicians in this country, office holders, are they aware that we are in trouble with regards to values? You see, because you talked earlier about providing for budget for media houses that have airtime for public good. Are the leaders, executive and legislative, are they aware that we are really in trouble when it comes to values, nation building values, that they are eroding so fast that we don't have 5, we don't have 10 years?
I don't think so. Because if they do, I can tell you that the main focus of our leaders of today is what comes into my private pocket. And once you have that mindset, there is no way that your heart, your mind will be magnanimous to look at the common interest of the general people. You don't do that. And that is what is happening. In the case of the kind of leadership we have, I will tell you without any fear of contradiction that they don't see it the way we are seeing it this way. They don't.
I mean, is it that they travel to other places?
Of course.
As they travel to other places, see societies that have been built with the sacrifice, the blood and sacrifice of leaders. How come that they are not able to see that unless we have people who make such sacrifice here, we cannot get to those places? I mean,
in the first instance, there is what in psychology, that is what they call dissonance. That you look at things that is not coming my way, is somewhere else.
You're not connected.
Exactly. And I will refer back to an interview I had with the wife of former Premier of Northern Nigeria, Hajia Amina Sa'amadu Bello.
Okay.
I now asked her, what is the benefit of her being his wife? This was about 29 years after his death. Do you know what she told me? She said she was dear to him, and her other senior wives were using her whenever they want to be confrontational towards him, because they usually get news that people have brought in gifts while he was sitting outside their home. And he will never bring something into the family house. He will distribute it where whoever is there. Yes. So she will be made to now ask him, how dare you get something? We are your wives, and you have not brought a single thing, and we have heard what you have gotten there, and you distributed it there. He will tell them, what is your problem? What do you need? Wife A will say, wife B will say, wife C will say, okay, this is my capacity. I can do it to you as your husband. You will do according to what you could be able to do. She said the logic of doing that, she didn't realize it. She told me 2 days before my interview with her. A truckload of food was brought to the house in Sokoto. They don't want to even tell her these are the people that have brought it. They will just see things. And that thing has continued from the death of that person to that time period that I was interviewing her.
29 years.
Yes, she said that is the lesson of her life. Because they didn't realize that, yes, what he was saying is the people's this thing that their own will come to them, and that has been coming, even though he was not around.
Yes.
None of our politicians today is thinking like that.
On this note, we'll be bringing this segment to an end. I've been speaking with Abdulkareem Mohammed, Managing Director of Moving Image
Yes.
Limited, an experienced teacher, media practitioner, entertainer, movie producer. You have done this for almost 40 years now.
A little bit. I started 79.
So more than 40 years.
Yes.
Wow. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations. And perhaps the most significant development in his life is taking on the initiative of establishing the film festival.
Yes,
where people from across the world are now submitting movies for competition for your film festival.
Exactly.
Fantastic. And we pray that this will grow, and beyond you, it will explode to the glory of all.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.